Simone de Beauvoir said, "The body is the instrument of our hold on the world." It is from our bodies that we feel our way through this ecosystem. It is our bodies that determine in our gendered world how we are treated one way or another, depending on which position of heteronormativity that we fit into. It is this notion of what is normal that makes many of us feel that we do not belong. There is a biological and psychological dislocation in this heteronormative world, where if you are not quite, then you are other. For most of history, Anonymous was a woman, said Virginia Woolf, which is absolutely correct when we think about how women have been removed or forgotten or not quite making the sales at Christie's like they should. These are not just kind of anecdotes, they are comments about a world that is not quite equal. And this biological and psychological dislocation is something that maybe we can all a little bit relate to in the past 18 months living in times of confinement. The show Empower, curated by Breda Kolar-Sulga, presented as part of the WOMART's manifestation of the touring project currently here in Limerick, takes this position of de Beauvoir's second sex as a starting point to talk about this notion of otherness. It also coincidentally has manifested through a time of massive rollback of women's rights. In particular, the pandemic has seen a huge reversal of access to labour markets, the art world and academia for most professional working women. For example, academia.eu has seen a drop of 82% in women publishing online. The art market has seen NFT sales grossing millions of dollars and euros in sales, predominantly by white, cis males, which is further skewing the art market and further skewing the ability for upward mobility and ultimately equality for cis or trans women. So a show like Empower presents a plethora of excellent considered artworks that go to the very notion of what it is to be not quite present or not quite visible. There is a kind of a subtle persistence, feeling of being invisible or anonymous. There is a kind of a matrixial vision of collective and agitation in the works presented here. It also makes me think about the role of WOMARTs and this sorority, to quote the writer Natalia Alonso Ardoengo, who writes, "Let's rewrite and star in our own chronicle," in this opening address to this show. Empower presents this idea that these artists have been out in the world and have seen. They have learned from their collective. They are considering what it is to survive a worldwide pandemic and yet still continue to make work that is inspiring. In times of great plagues, pilgrims would travel to spaces of historical religious significance, and they would bring with them these mirrors, and the mirrors would reflect pieces of relics such as like the cross of Jesus Christ or Mary Magdalene's cloth that she wiped the feet of Jesus with her tears. They would reflect them in these mirrors, and then they would return all the way back to their rural locations or spaces where their flocks of parishioners lived, and these mirrors, which had reflected the original relic, had become empowered with the power of such a relic. I would argue that this show is a bit of a pilgrimage because its entire construction has been this traveling together, this reflecting back of shared and lived experience, this to quote Barbara Ettinger, this matrixial vision of shared othering, and then it has brought this back and presented a idea of what could be another alternative, a sorority of sorts, in a time when we need these kind of presentations. So I would like to congratulate the organisers of WOMARTS, to Dr. Tracy Fahy, to the curator Breda Colgar Sluga, to the writer Natalia Alonso Arduengo, and to the 32 artists spanning the countries of Spain, France, Slovenia, Croatia, Lithuania, Finland, the United Kingdom and Ireland, for their participation in such an exciting opportunity, an amazing show. And I wish you very well with your collective matrixial visions going forward and presentations of other alternatives to keep on smashing glass ceilings. Thank you.